We'll see, though, because what we know. But those are our winners and losers. Let's get on to grading every pick. We'll start with the Mavericks. I mean, we don't have to spend too much time on this. I think this was an A+ move a year and a half ago. Whoever got Cooper Flag was going to get an automatic A+. He is one of the best prospects we've seen in the last 25 years. I think he's going to be able to come in early on and be effective on his team as a high quality role player. I think he could return like top 50 impact as a rookie. He's going to have a lot of veterans and 2 Hall of Famers to learn from. So
3. 4 actually.
Jason Kidd, you talking about?
AD, Clay, Kyrie. Jason Kidd.
Oh yeah, he gonna have. Okay, you're right. 4 Hall of Famers to learn from early on. I think this is a really advantageous situation for him. It just depends on how they use him year one. I think they're looking to sign D'Lo. So for whatever that's worth, he can be a stopgap at the point guard position until Kyrie comes back. This team could be really dangerous as early as this year. To be honest, the defense is going to be really, really good. The offense, I have questions about. What we think about the first pick, Q?
Obviously, a great pick. You nailed everything. Between how they're going to use him, Jason Kidd, Coop, I guess they talk about him, getting some on-ball reps. I think that can help him out early. To not super pressure, get hand on the ball, lead to better things, especially when Kyrie come back. He'll understand how to play within the game. He's plug and play for this team, literally a stacked roster outside of the guard position right now. Obviously, they have Kyrie. He's just not here yet. But they're loaded everywhere. Got some shooting. Got amazing defense. They could use the defense to turn into offense, get out in transition. Coop wouldn't have to play super rim protector, obviously. He could be just a Swiss Army knife, get out there, play the lanes, play help, get out in transition, get easy buckets. He could probably easily average anywhere from 15 to 18 year one. But I probably projecting like around 17, 6, and 4, on decent efficiency. I don't think he's going to take the type of shots that lead to inefficiency. He's a roller, off the catch, putbacks, things like that. Real easy. It's going to be a pretty solid rookie year. I think he's rookie of the year no matter what.
All right, let's move on to the Spurs. What do they get for Dylan Harper, number 2?
What you gave? You gave him an A+?
I give him an A-. I give him an A- because of the fit. I think they need to work that out pretty quickly. But I mean, obviously, I think it's a great.
I'd say it's A- only for the simple fact of that guard situation. Like they're pretty loaded in that room right now. Like I said earlier, last episode, obviously I think Dylan Harper could play alongside and play at the 2. That's great for the long term. He's probably going to end up being a 1 eventually. But De'Aaron Fox is not going to be here forever. Even if they do sign him, you still got time, but you could play them together. Got Wemby. Like I said, you got Carter. You got a bunch of other fill-ins, so it's going to be pretty easy for him to play off ball. I think he has off ball potential. Obviously, good enough catch and shoot player. It's going to be seamless, and again, fits the timeline. Second best prospect in the draft. Can't really, go too lower than the A when you get one of the 2 best prospects in the draft.
Yeah, this pick was an A- for me. I'm not like the biggest fan of the fit. I think they're gonna have to move one of those guards here in a year and a half. I do have my person as an odd man out. But I think, again, like you said, I think Dylan, the most under-discussed part of Dylan's game was his off-ball play. I've talked about it almost at length now on Twitter. I think he's a really good cutter. He shot like 37% off catch and shoot threes. He's a really confident catch and shoot shooter. I think he can come off like dribble handoffs too. He wasn't like great at it in college, but I think the process was fine. And also his defense. I think in a scaled down role where he doesn't have to do everything on offense, he can lock in on defense. He has a pretty good wingspan. I think he had solid like stock rates. And next to Carter Bryant, next to Wemby, Harrison Barnes is still a solid defender. Castle, solid defender. De'Aaron Fox is nothing crazy, but I think if in a scale down role, he should be an impactful defender, like a plus on defense in a scale down role. I'll be very disappointed if he's not, honestly. But yeah, A-. Next pick was VJ Edgecombe to the Sixers. I think the drive started at 3. We didn't really know what direction the Sixers were going to go in. They go with my number 3 prospects. I give it an A. I think the Sixers can really use athleticism, some connectivity on offense, some transition play, some point of attack defense. I think VJ is going to be a superstar in his role for the first few years of his contract, his rookie deal. I think he can be like a supercharged role player on his team. Now, year one, I want to see how it looks, but like in year 2, 3, I think it's going to be a really good pick. He's going to come in and provide. He's going to be able to cut, get offensive rebounds, hit spot up shots. The handle is really work in progress. The finishing is also, like, despite his athleticism, a work in progress because his like second and third step is not really good. His footwork getting to the rim is not really good. Only finished at like 48% in the half court. He does have some red flags, I will say, but I do think he has a solid baseline as a floor. And if he refines his game, improves his game, the upside could be tantalizing. Now, I don't know how likely it is that he hits those higher upside outcomes like a Victor Oladipo. Some people compare it to Anthony Edwards type of thing. I think that's not less likely, but I think he can be a really, really high valuable role player for the Sixers, and they need someone that can help them win games day one. I think he has a chance to do that. What do you think for the pick?
I give it a B plus. Okay. Like I said, solid baseline, going to be able to defend. The offense is obviously a work in progress, especially the shot. I think the thing with him, I think he could turn point of attack defense into transition buckets, and then he could be easy. I think off the catch, he could get a little bit downhill. Whether he finish or not, that's still up in the air. But he's not going to have a lot of, pressure to perform offensively early because you got Joel Embiid, you got Tyrese Maxey, and for what it's worth, you still got Paul George. So this is going to be, like you said, finish a role. I think he'll look at exactly like what Stephon Castle looked last year, like just doing a lot of things when the attention's on everybody else. I think it's going to be a pretty solid rookie year. Still have to work on those things like shooting, finishing at the rim handle. But again, not a lot of pressure right now. He's just a plug and play kind of guy, athleticism, defense, all the things that they don't, not necessarily that they don't have on a roster, but just a glue guy. They got a bunch of star power. They need a bunch of glue guys, and he's a glue guy that has potential to turn into like a higher upside, type player.
At 4, the Hornets selected Kai Kanupu. I think we mocked them there later in the cycle. This is my 4th player on my board, so obviously I love the pick. I think the Charlotte Hornets, they need good players. They don't have a lot of good players on this roster. I don't think they have a lot of high field players on this roster. They don't have a lot of guys that keep the main thing, honestly. To be honest, I think guys going to keep the main thing. I'm not gonna lie, man. I'm not saying that I think Kai has got grouped into like he's white, he can shoot type of thing. But I think again he can do a lot more than that. I think he's gonna be able to attack closeouts because of his shooting gravity. I think he can get downhill if advantage is already created for him off of like a pin down, any type of off ball screen. He is, I think, the second best shooter in the draft class among the top prospects. He has a really strong track record of shooting. He shot like 43% on like 1,200 attempts since high school. If there's one thing he can do, he can't shoot, but he's a really good passer, in my opinion, really good processor. He wastes no movements on his like shot attempts, nothing like that. He plays really well off 2 feet. He's strong. Not the greatest athlete or wingspan or measurables, nothing like that, but I think he's gonna be able to beat those stigmas because of how smart he plays the game of basketball, how quickly he plays the game of basketball. So I think Charles Lee, B. Mill, and LaMelo, and really a lot of players on the team got up a lot of threes. He obviously wants to play in that because we saw a second pick, Liam Manili. So I think they are saying they are kind of right now saying it's like screw defense. We're gonna have a really good offense right now. Love the pick. Gave it an A+.
Yeah, cool with an A. Like you said, you could do a lot of other things that people didn't really. I guess they don't understand. Again, maybe it's a skin color thing. I said when we did the last mock draft, it's like a taller Desmond Bane. Desmond Bane, another short wingspan dude. But short wingspan dudes, as you know from 2K, they're better shooters. He could come off the catch and shoot, play well in the pick and roll, even though I don't have no real big on the roster. So I don't expect to see that early, but everything off the catch he could pretty much do.
I don't know who this is. I like is it Musa Diabate? Yeah, I like Musa.
Yeah, whether he's going to play 30 minutes a night, that's up in the air. But I said it's a lot so far. Plug and play. He's going to be able to fit. He's a fit guy. Like you don't have to run a lot for him. He's pretty much like a valve to get off things. And he's going to be able to do everything. Like again, no wasting moving. 5 pretty much off the catch, 3 seconds, and something's happening from him. So like that's pretty fine in his offense. He doesn't have to dribble, try to be flashy because he's pretty straight to the point on his offensive structure.
Next up was the Jazz. They select Ace Bailey. What do we think of the pick, Q? He clearly didn't want to be here. Giovanni reported it directly after the pick. I don't think he looked too thrilled to play in Utah. I don't know who would honestly. Living in Utah is crazy. But
I don't be too harsh.
I didn't try to be. I tried to be not too harsh too.
I'm for a proposed top prospect, even though I don't think that's what he was. I think this is like a C plus. Like a C, like around a C plus, maybe a B minus. If like with Will Hardy, like there's a potential, like he could really reach his potential, but a lot of his works has to do with like IQ and how he plays the game. I think if he learns how to play the game, this could be a very good pick. If he becomes what he was projected to be like early in the class. I just think this like where he's at between him not wanting to go there. The mindset like not all the way be in it. Whether you're around talent or not, I just don't think it's a great fit.
I gave the Jazz selecting Ace Bailey a C plus. I think a lot of this pick will be based on if Ace is able to accept the role. I do think he's going to have the minutes and the shots in. I do think he's going to have the minutes and the shots in Utah because they don't have a blue chip talent on this roster whatsoever. So he's going to have free reign. But I think him having free reign could be dangerous and not in the best way at all. I think Ace to me is going to be best as a high-level off-ball weapon on both sides of the ball. I think if he buys into the role and Will Hardy uses him similar to like a Lauri Markkanen with more like dribble pull-up ability, he can be a really good player on both ends of the ball. But he has to accept that role. And Ace wants to be a star. He thinks those mid-range pull-ups he shoots aren't bad shots because he practices them. And I get it to have confidence in yourself, but I really think because of his handle issues, his lack of ability to get to the rim, his questionable feel for the game, I think just making him a really high-level off-ball weapon and off-ball defender will be really beneficial for his career and for the Jazz because they're going to probably be at the top. Hopefully, they can get like a top 3 pick next year and draft one of those guys, like a real like blue chip talent, a real advantage creator next year. I don't hate it at all. I think it's a C plus B minus pick. It depends on if Ace is willing to take a role. It's depending on how he's utilized. And it's depending if he's buying in to playing in Utah because it doesn't seem like he is. So we'll see. Next pickup is going to be the Wizards. What do you think, Q?
I gave it a B. And B based on like obviously I think he's one of the 3 best shooters in the draft. With the Wizards, how they currently constructed, there's some young guys, but there's also a healthy amount of veteran presence, that could guide them through. Like a lot of pressure not going to be on him early. He's not like the greatest at getting to the rim or anything like that, but shooting, that's a premium in this league, and he's going to be able to shoot, catch and shoot, whatever it may be. Chat closeouts, get to the mid-range, make a shot. Like I said, not a lot of pressure on him early, and they still got a top prospect in this draft. I don't think it's a super, super bad fit. I think the Wizards have a healthy nucleus for him to grow around.
I gave it a B plus, I believe. I think it was the right pick at 6. He was high on my board. I think there was some other picks they could have made that would have been pretty detrimental. I think he's the best shooter in the class because of his shooting versatility, coming off screens, off the dribble. I think he handled some high usage really well. He didn't turn the ball over a lot at all. He made plays for others as well. He was a really solid passer, in my opinion. Didn't get enough recognition for how he created plays for others while limiting turnovers. I think he has some underrated feel for the game. My problems with Trey come with his lack of ability to get to and finish at the rim at a high level. His handle is not the most dynamic whatsoever. He needs to put on some weight as well. And his defense was very bad at Texas. He got lost off the ball a lot. He didn't do well. He didn't do the best moving his feet. But I think he has a good motor. He works really hard. I think he can put the time in to improve on the end. And he has a 6'10" wingspan at 6'6". So he has the measurables to improve on the end. It's about I think half of defense is just effort and intent and just being focused on that end. So if he can refine that alongside Bilal, Kaishan, and Sar, he can be a better defender. I like the pick for the Wizards. I think next year they get that advantage creator, that blue chip prospect to really submit this young core. But right now, I think Trey Johnson is a good addition to that. I think him and Bub is a really big backcourt. Hopefully, Bub can improve as a three-point shooter, but because of their size, they may be able to improve a lot defensively. And I think Bub was a pretty solid playmaker for a rookie, especially for his age. I don't want to harp too much on that. I think it was a B+ pick for the Wizards. Let's move on. New Orleans at 7. They selected one of the most polarizing players in the draft class. A+ for his fit. The suit was tough. I'm not gonna lie. Jeremiah Fears suit was really good. I think it was Gucci. I like the font. I like the color. The braids look nice. So A+ for the draft day fit. The chain, 0 fears. That's tough. Hopefully he gets 0 in the Pelicans. I gave the pick a C. I'm really I think Jeremiah Fears was one of the harder evaluations of this class. Now I do think he has a chance to be a all-star level player because, and I'm gonna speak to this so we can move on. But I think he's super young. He was supposed to be in high school. And he came into the SEC, I think the hardest SEC we've ever seen, one of the hardest conferences we've ever seen in terms of quality of teams. And he was productive, to say the least. He got to the free throw line a lot. He got to the paint a lot. Now he didn't finish well in the paint, but he shot a good free throw percentage. He shot good from mid range. He scored. He created for others. Even though I think he can grow as a shooter, I think he can grow as a finisher by a lot. I think he needs to grow as a decision maker and a playmaker. Defense, the steal rates were good, but I don't think he's gonna be a good defender in the NBA. We'll see. I think he's a volatile prospect. Is what I think he has some outcomes that are really good, like maybe a Kemba Walker. I think I like comparing him to Jeff Teague a little bit, who I think was an all-star level player or low-level all-star for a few years. But man, they just traded for Jordan Poole, who they already got on the roster. I don't know what they plan to do with him. I think this is a move for the future because they also have DeJounte Murray. I don't know. It was like an iffy pick for me, to be honest. I think he can potentially be a good player, but I think his archetype is not that valuable anymore in today's NBA. A smaller guard who isn't an elite shooter and struggles to finish at the rim. It's questionable outlook for me, man. And I think I don't want to be too harsh. He has, because of his advantage creation, his handle, it's a solid bet. It's a solid start bet. I think I'm not that high on his median and low tier outcomes. Honestly, I'm not. But Q, what do we think?
Yeah, I think it's a C+ because, like you said, the archetype, small guards, hard to, especially early, hard to really find your place in the NBA. Huh?
It's gonna take a few years.
Yeah, dynamic handle, could do a lot of things. Whether it leads to getting to the rim or lead to a shot, those two things he still has to work on. Refine those games. Obviously, don't project him to be a great defender. And the situation, you got 2 guards already in front of you. Obviously, DeJounte Murray coming off injury, he still has leeway because DeJounte Murray's an NBA vet, been here.
They traded for him.
You know what I'm saying? You just got Jordan Poole, who, whatever you say about Jordan Poole, he's still another guard, dynamic scorer, could put the ball up. He's going to want to shoot the ball. He's not a great playmaker by any means, so you're still third in that depth chart. So everything culminates into probably being a mid-tier type pick, but if he hits those outcomes, even if he hits the median outcome, it's a decent pick in this draft. I just think the situation is not conducive for him, really hitting that level.
Okay. Next pick is Nets. We talked about the Nets already. I think it was a D. On Twitter, I said I'm not trying to be harsh here, but the only thing he did well at BU was pass. I don't know, man. That's my thoughts.
I iterate the same thing. That's exactly how I feel. I loved him early. Didn't love him late. Think it was a bad pick.
Colin Murray Bowles is selected by Raptors. Now this shocked me. I'm not gonna lie. I had it as an A. I think I'm gonna drop it down to like a B. Honestly, I think Colin Murray Bowles is a hell of a prospect. I think he's a great player. Handled high usage on a very bad team really well. Was efficient. Was impactful. The South Carolina wouldn't have won one game without him. Honestly, that team was awful. I just don't, the fit is not the greatest. They don't have any like forwards, or any like fours or fives that can shoot. I really struggle with the offensive fit. Defensively, it's going to be great. Offensively, I don't know. That's why I dropped it down. Not because of Colin Murray Bowles is not a great prospect. I don't know about the fit though.
Yeah, same thing. Well, B plus just because he's one of the best prospects in the draft. Easily one of the, if not one of the two, if not the best defender in the draft. Good in isolation, can rebound, decent playmaker, especially like the dribble handles and things like that. But the fit is the question because he's a tweener. You got Scotty Barnes who's a tweener, and then you got Bi, who's kind of a tweener, but he's going to play that three. But he's going to handle the ball a lot. I don't think you're going to see massive value from him early on offense. I think it's just going to be straight defense, just because of how the team is constructed right now. But can't go wrong with taking one of the 10 best players in the draft.
The Suns, Kamal Maliwatch. We already talked about this pick. A plus. They really need him. We talked about earlier in the video. We can move on. A plus move from them. It wasn't the Blazers at 11. It was the Grizzlies. They traded up to get Cedric Coward. Let me find their name real quick. Coward. They call him Colin Coward. That was crazy. I watched Cedric Coward at Atlanta. I wrote a scouting report on him. I think he has a chance to be a really, really impactful player in this league, man. This was a little rich for me because he doesn't have a lot of tape, especially against comp. He only played 6 games this year, but he was efficient from literally every spot on the floor. He was efficient from 3 over the last 38 games of his career, efficient from non-rim twos, efficient at the rim. He had a good postal game too. I think he's going to take advantage of mismatches. He was really good at mid-range, creating a shot, especially at Washington State in the 6 games. You squint a little bit. You squint really, 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 really hard. You squint really hard. And there might be Kawhi Leonard in there. There might be a little bit of Kawhi Leonard in there. I'm not going to lie. The mannerisms look the same. The way they kind of score look the same. I'm not comparing him to Kawhi Leonard. Now, Kevin O'Connor did it. Kevin O'Connor did do that, but I'm not going to go that far. Players who have – he has a 7'2" wingspan. Players who have 7'2" wingspans have a really good hit rate in the draft. Having length like that is just going to be really good, especially since he can shoot. I think it's a risky move for the Grizzlies, but I'm not going to lie. I'm not giving the Grizzlies scouting team that much flack at all ever because they have been doing an amazing job. So Desmond Bain, Jalen Wells, Zach Edey, I think it's going to be solid for them. They got Jaren Jackson Jr., John Morant. Who?
I said Vince Williams.
Gigi Jackson could be a steal, even though he's not, But, what you think of the pick?
I think it's a B. I didn't, like I said in the group chat, I didn't think they had to move up to necessarily get him. But if they stayed where they had and still missed on, I think they could have got similar value. But in terms of him as a player, like you said, efficient, could shoot, long wingspan, obviously show upside as a very good defender. Slide him in there, start next to Jalen Wells. I think that'd be a good defensive wing tandem. Like close to not close, but almost like what Trey and Herb looked like 2 years ago. Obviously, less offensive upside because Trey's a better shooter of all 4 of those players. And this Memphis not going to have be super pressure early because you still got Jaren Jackson Jr. and Ja. All he's going to have to do is spot up, get out of transition, and play defense. That's an easy role for them. They're still going to be able to compete. They're a team, and then scatter department is great. I think if everything works well in 2 years, it could look like a hit.
Next team up was the Bulls. They selected Noah Asinge. What did you think of that pick, Crew?
I gave it a C only because between having Patrick Williams, who they're trying to trade, you got Modest last year. I think they're going, heavy on these forwards. I think Noah himself is a good player, very young, has a lot of room to grow. Was very productive when he was playing, especially against grown men. I understand that's like a thing. Like if you're playing against actual basketball players, like how you perform really matters. I think everything for him is solid except for the shooting. If the shooting hits, everything else looks just that much better. I think he can defend, play out in transition, good cutter. I think he does a lot of great role player things. So I think not going to be a lot of pressure early because he doesn't have to do too much. He's not going to have to handle the ball. Not going to have to really do too much. I think as he grows, he's going to get better. Maybe he could hit that Pascal Siakam type level. Maybe if he does that, then again, it's a hit.
I gave it I think a B or something like that. Like instant reaction, I gave it a B. I think Asenge is going to thrive in this offense because it depends if they keep Kobe, they keep Giddey, or they're gonna keep Giddey. So I think Giddey can. I think he thrives well when he has someone setting him up. Asenge really can't create his own offense really at all right now. I think his handle is not the greatest. He can't no pull up jump shooting. Not a great shooter in the half court, but I think he can cut. He's a really good roller. He's a very, very good cutter. He's a really good offensive rebounder too. And offensive rebounds, he draws a lot of fouls. His free throw percentage is growing. His 3-point percentage is growing. It's a long-term plan for Asenge. But if he can grow more into his body, get stronger, get a better handle, I think some higher level outcomes are not out of the question. Honestly, it was again very productive in pro league. He's the second youngest player in this draft class. Won't turn 19 until December, I think. Good pick. The Pelicans traded up for 13. They gave up a first round pick in the process to grab Derek Queen. What do we think of the actual pick? Let's eliminate the fact that they gave up a first round pick for it.
The actual pick itself,
yep,
I'd still probably give it a B minus.
Okay.
The fit next to Zion between offensively and defensively bother me. His fit next to Aviv Messi on offense bothers me, but him as the player itself, if he was by himself in that front court, he can be some sort of some semblance of an offensive hub. Mm-hmm. Obviously, the defense scares me, but I think everything on offense outside of shooting, I think is fine. Pretty good. Shooting, it didn't translate as well as makes, but everything does look good. The shot does look good. His process looks good. I just think he was just not unlucky, just he wasn't blessed with the makes. But it's a lot about the fit that bothers me outside of the actual player. I think they got one of the 15 best players in the draft. I just think the team that he's on is going to be hard for him to really showcase his skills just because you have Zion down there and he is messy when he is on the court. I think he's not going to ever have to play without any of those two players.
I give it a C plus. I didn't at that point. I was kind of confused what they were trying to do. I did modify it to a B plus. I think I'm still lower on. I think I'm going to give it a C plus. Zion and Queen on defense. I think offensively it can be interesting as a fit. It could probably work. Defensively though, I don't know. I don't like that pairing together. To be honest, with both of them on the court at the same time. I think both of their moves are after a Zion thing. They said they were moving Zion. I think if he gets hurt, he's getting injured this year, they could definitely move him. And I think those two picks are after Zion moves. Honestly, if you view it through that lens, you could be higher on it. I think Queen, he was a really good advantage trader in college. He had a lot of rim makes on his self creation. I think he was better passer than what the assist percentage shows. Made some high level reads, in my opinion. I think he's a high field player, not the best athlete at all whatsoever, but he has some really good feet, especially on both ends. Really good hands on defense. I think he has a chance to be a star. I think he has a chance to be a star, but the floor could be really, really scary too. To be honest, if his play style doesn't translate to the NBA, if he can't improve defensively, I don't know. We'll see. 14. We talked about the Spurs earlier. It's A+ pick for me. because well, I'll give it an A. I think it's a great fit, great defender. Okay, knock down spot up threes, good in transition, good cutting, off ball utility player. I think he fits really nicely. I think he can be the starting forward for them, taking her for Jeremy Sohan. To be honest, I'm really much higher on him than Jeremy Sohan. So I like that from Spurs.
I give it an A too. Carter Bryant, low usage, high value player.
Yep.
Literally will do everything that you need him to do. Come from catch and shoot, finish at the rim, help side defense, spot up three, one-on-one defense. Like he's I don't transition everything. That I don't see no blemish in his game, and his game is perfectly predicated on playing with star players and primary ball handlers because he doesn't have to do too much. You've seen that at Arizona.
Thunder at 15, they grabbed Thomas Sorber. I'm gonna give this pick. I get this pick an A. The best defense in the world, maybe in NBA history, gets one of the best rim protectors in the class, probably the best rim protector in the class. Really high block percentage. The defense was much better with him on the court. Really good drop big. And some of the concerns were around his foot speed on defense because he's 6'9" and he's kind of really slow because he's like 260. But when you have Lou Dort, right now they have Lou Dort, Casey Wallace, Caruso, all those point of attack defenders, Jalen Williams, all those guys, and then having him at the rim, like they're gonna have I don't think Sorber's gonna play that much year one, but I think he's gonna be a good replacement for Isaiah Hartenstein down the line. I think he do some of the things that Hart can do, like pass really well already. Offensively, I want to see him improve as a roll man and a roll man finisher. He did not finish well at the rim against Comp at all. He's ground bound, so he wasn't the best roller or whatever finisher. However, though, depending on how much they play him year one, they're gonna have basically 48. Well, they already were gonna have 48 minutes of great rim protection, but they're really gonna have 48 minutes of great rim protection. So I think it's good insurance for when they have to trade Hartenstein because they won't have the money to really keep him on the roster. I think this is another great pick for the Thunder at 15. Really good value for Thomas Sorber. This is where he was around on my board, but I think he's a really good bet to be a high level rim protector.
Yeah, this fits on all accounts between them. Having another player the minutes that they have, they only had real space at the 5. They kind of loaded at guard. They're loaded on the wing, sort of they don't have no real need for those positions right now. I don't want to say they have a need for a center, but obviously Isaiah Hartenstein is not going to be a long-term future. Eventually, you're going to move off him, based on when you pay J-Dub, Chet, Mate, and Kaysen, they're going to get paid. So you're going to have to move off somebody eventually. It's most likely going to be iHeart. That was a right here, right now move. Let's get over the top, and it worked. Slow bring up Thomas Sorber. Going to be able to fit in that defense. Still could play next to Chet because Chet can't play outside. His offense ain't fully there yet, but we know what he could do. If Thomas Sorber somehow if the shot actually comes along, he's able to actually instantly hit a midi and a 3, it's going to be a lot better for them also. I don't see no way for this pick to go wrong unless his feet just never get healthy or whatever it may be. But I'm not going to bang on that.
Number 16, the Blazers. They picked Ha-Seong Yang. We talked about this earlier. I'm gonna give it a D. I think it was a really big reach. Obviously was productive in the CBA. They watched him a lot, so I'll give him the benefit of doubt in that aspect. But I think he's kind of raw too. Also, don't think they needed a center. They just drafted Darby Cleveland last year. They still got DeAndre Ayton on the roster, who I think could be a little bit difficult to move. I think he's on an expiring contract though. They got Robert Williams, who can have games. They got to move 2 centers to make this even viable. But I think they drafted a backup center at 16, to be honest. Which I think is that could be cool.
I feel the same way. In every draft, same way I feel about all trades and signings and drafts. Not everything has to be a home run. Not everything is going to be a star player. Not everything is going to be a championship move. Sometimes getting your long-term backup center is a good thing at 16 because a lot of times after the first 10 picks, you're really just getting role players. I just think based off their front court situation, I think they could have swung somewhere else instead of getting a center. But again, did okay and it did well in his league. people are pretty high on him, so I'm not going to really knock him. And if they do move Rod, Will, and DeAndre in, it's perfectly fine because you got your 2 centers for the future.
All right. Next pick was the Timberwolves?
17, yes.
Yep. They drafted I think it's Johan Berenze. I think I got that right. But we talked about this earlier. Gave it a D. I think he's gonna need a lot of time to develop. They don't have the time to give it to him. They're in a win now situation. Finch doesn't play rookies, I guess. So I think it was a reach, honestly. I don't really have Johan. I think Berenze was like a late first guy, maybe early second, like mid second. I don't know. I don't really think he was like he came on late in his class because measurables. But I mean, I guess. What do you think of the pick?
Yeah, I didn't have like I said, I didn't think this was the right pick. And obviously, in a win-now situation, you don't have time to wait for players to develop, especially if they're going to need 2-3 years. If they wanted to go big, there was 2 bigs that I would have had ahead of him at this spot, even though I don't. Those bigs are kind of too high, like they were too rich at this spot anyway. Just don't see, like I see the vision, but that vision is for like 2029, not 2025.
The Jazz traded up for pick 18, and then they selected Walter Clayton. I think the Jazz need good players. I think Walter Clayton is a good player. I think he's a really dynamic shooter. Can handle the ball really well, in my opinion. He's not a negative defensively. He wasn't in college, at least. They need good players. They got good players. I think he's probably going to be the best ball handler on the roster. I think Collier may get minutes over him, but he's probably going to be better than Keyshawn George year 1, honestly. So, what a big mess for me there. But what do you think, Q?
I'd probably say a B, just because he's NBA ready right now, older, could shoot, handle the ball. I think just obviously the signals that Colin Sexton finally is getting out of there. Jordan Clarkson finally getting out of there because they don't have enough minutes to go around in the backcourt. And obviously they need good players, and he's a good player in this draft. I wish he would have fell to Miami, but Miami, we'll get to that. Once you got to Miami, because Miami did what they had to do, and they came out looking like kings.
Nets drafted Nolan Traore at 19. We talked about the Nets. I gave it a D. I do think he's a really good passer. He is lightning quick. He did get into the paint a lot. Although I think his like handles like straight line drives. It's straight line drives. Don't got a lot of creativity to his handle, in my opinion. Not a great defender. Wasn't good at scoring. But Jordy is the guard whisperer, man. He gets a lot out of his guard. So from that standpoint, it's not an F. It's not terrible, in my opinion.
I say that I give it a D. I just think like how he plays is not conducive. Like for this team, is just not. I don't think the fit is right based off like their first pick and their fourth pick. I just think they got too much of like questionable guards like right now, and I don't think this is the pick to make.
Heat grabbed Casper Jakuchonis, who was much higher on my board at 20. I think it's one of the steals of the draft. I think he can really, really thrive in this ecosystem and in Miami. He doesn't have to be the primary option on this team. Yes, he will struggle with his athleticism and his handle, I think. But I think this team has needed a point guard really, really badly. He's going to be the best facilitator on the team. Day one. Pairing him with Bam and Khalil Ware, 2 bigs that can like catch lobs. And I think possibly knock down threes. Bam is growing in that regard last year. Ware came in with the ability to knock down a spot of 3. Having him play with Tyler Hero, having him come off with dribble handoffs, just going to be a great move. I think I like it. I love it for the Heat. Really good pick, man. They were able to stay there and get Casper's. I think people are going to come back in a few years and be like, wow, how did Casper's fall to 20? I really think there's a chance that he does that, man. Was much higher on Casper's early in the year. He suffered that injury. His shots stopped going in, and you've seen some of the turnover struggles and the athleticism struggles later in the year. But I think he's still a good prospect, man. So get him that 20. Great deal. Great deal. What you think, Q?
I think it's the A. Great pick and roll ball handler. Very good shooter. I think working with Bam is going to help out because he could do anything in the pick and roll, and that takes less pressure off of Bam because Bam has been basically their best playmaker for basically all of last season. He can shoot off those pick and roll actions. He can catch and shoot. Be able to make high level passes, make some reads. The concerns is obviously defensively. I think him and Tyler Hero back there pretty much are cooked. But you got Bam back there. He's been anchoring good defense for a while now, so that's not too much of an issue. I just think on offense they needed some juice and they got him.
All right, Jazz. I think what is Jazz? No, Wizards. Pardon me. They traded 21. Wizards selected Will Riley at 21, back-to-back Illini for the first time in a while. Oh, first time two Illini winning the first round for the first time in a while. I gave it a C. My instant reaction. I'm lower on it now. C minus, D plus. Will Riley, I don't think he wasn't really good for majority of the year. He really struggled with his efficiency. I think he needs to put on a lot of weight. He had some solid playmaking chops going into the year. Didn't shoot the ball the best at all. Don't think his handle was really good at all. Don't think the defense is good right now. It's really I guess it's an upside swing for them. Not the biggest fan. Not the biggest fan. Wasn't the biggest fan. Will Riley. Not the biggest fan of the pick. I think they could have got a lot of better players here. Maybe a Ryan Kalkbrenner to be your backup center for you guys because their backup center depth is not good at all. Adu Thiero was on the board. Noah Penda's on the board. A lot of great players. Rasheed Fleming on the board. A lot of players in the second round that didn't get picked here. I think would have been good for them at 21.
Yeah, same thing. I think they went too high on a premium trying to get shooting. I don't think they need that on the roster. They got a bunch of I think they got a bunch of shooters on the roster that they just don't need right now. Could have went either another direction, many other directions in my opinion.
Nets get Drake Powell again at 22. I think this is a B. I think this is their best pick of the night. I think he's gonna be a really good defender. Like I said earlier, good athlete. Hopefully can knock down, catch and shoot threes because of shot at 40% on low volume, shot 37% overall on low volume. The playmaking wasn't there. Definitely got to work on that. Got to work on the handle, pull up shooting. But maybe I think he may be a solid bet for outlier development. If there's one of these pictures going to be somehow turn into a star or something like that, I probably think it's going to be Drake. To be honest, what you think of the pick?
Give it a B, maybe B minus. Like I said, their best pick of the night. Good defender. Not a lot of pressure. Doesn't have to be great on offense. I think his Byron was kind of low in college, but I think that could get uptake, especially if they make some other moves around the roster. It's going to be hard to really showcase his full value early on, but I think later on, once they add other talent, it's going to seem like a much better pick later on.
All right, next pick was the Hawks at 23. They traded down for his pick. Grabbed Austin Noel. We talked about this earlier. I do think he's a good play finisher. He was productive at Georgia in the SEC. Was efficient too. So I think he was a good player. I do think he needs to improve his handle, improve his jump shot, improve his defensive focus or technique. Yeah, I think he's a tweener too. I don't think he's a 5, but has some issues with playing the 4. Kind of like John Collins type of thing. But John Collins made some money in Atlanta, and I think he can play really nicely next to Trey. I think he's a good roller, good finisher, all that type of stuff.
Yeah, one of the better prospects. At his baseline, obviously working with Trey is going to be fine. Literally catching lobs, finishing at the rim like that. Not a 4 or a 5 definitively, but that doesn't really matter. Trey can work on anybody. He's going to be able to fit into the front court okay. Whether he's like a 35-minute-a-night guy or not, that's still up in the air. He has to work on some things, especially like shooting. If he wants to be really valuable, the shooting has to really improve. As of right now, at regular baseline level, he's going to be pretty productive in that offense.
All right. Next pickup was Nick Clifford to the Kings. I don't think I have him on here because they didn't have a first-round pick, but they traded for one. I think I gave it an A. I think it's great value for a player I had a lot higher on my board. Doesn't have really weakness in his game. I think he's a great rebounder. A good passer, was a good shooter over the last 2 years of his career. Versatile shooting too. Finished at the rim really nicely. Got there a lot too. He did play in a mid-major conference, and he is really old, gonna be 24 as a rookie. They just fired a GM who drafted a lot of old players, and it's funny that they drafted another one again as soon as he was fired. But I think he could be a really valuable role player for this team. Don't like the Kings roster whatsoever, but I like Neek. I guess he knew he was going into the Kings with that fit, man. That shit was terrible. I'm not gonna lie. After the fit, that's the worst draft fit I've ever seen in NBA history. I'm not gonna lie. I'm trying to be hyperbolic. It's between him and that Kevin Knox fit, but at least Kevin Knox had to open the fit for you to see the Fortnite thing. Those shoes were god awful. He had a gradient fit on. That's the first time I ever seen a gradient fit a gradient suit in my life. That was nuts. Bro dressed like it was like 2016, bro. That shit was terrible.
24.
Dog, you my dog, bro. I don't know what that shit was though. That shit was awful. That was the worst fit I've ever seen in NBA draft history. No troll. Like,
in terms of the pick though, B plus, and I'm only gonna lower down to a B plus only because I don't like the Kings and what they're doing right now. But they did get a prospect who I think should have went higher in the draft. Like I've said about like Carter Bryant, could pretty much do everything. He does everything good. I don't think he does anything elite, but he does everything good. I think he's a pretty seamless type of player to play along other players. Like I don't think you're not gonna ask him to do too much. He just passes him, he's gonna shoot. In transition, he's gonna make the layup, he's gonna rebound, he's gonna defend, can make a good connected passer. I think he's just perfect glue guy.
All right, next pickup was the Orlando Magic with the 25th pick. They selected Jace Richardson. I think that was, let me find their name real quick. Magic. There you go. They selected Jace Richardson. I gave it an A+. I think this is really great value. He was my 11th ranked player on the board. They need more passing and playmaking. They need more shooting. Jace was efficient from every spot on the floor in college. Obviously, he was in a lower usage role, but he scaled up really well when he became a starter finally, when Tom Izzo finally gained some assists to start him. He was Michigan State's best player on a team that made the Elite Eight, I believe. Really good handle, really good finisher, really good closeout attacker, really good off-ball shooter. He's going to come in and be a high-level role player for this team. I think he can be like 6th man of the year winner, like a Malcolm Brogdon type of like great role player in his like peak. And I don't think he's gonna be a star or anything like that, but I think he's gonna be a really good NBA player, like one that's really impactful type of thing. So that's
I give it an A. This is a top prospect they got at 25. I don't know why he fell this slow. Maybe because of size, whatever it may be. But again, like I said, not going to be a starter. Just going to be a spark plug off the bench who can shoot, handle the ball, and play make. And again, the defense doesn't really matter because it's the Orlando Magic. They have a defensive culture. They're going to always field the top 10 defense anyway. He's just more of what they needed. Like I said, they swapped out KCP and Cole Anthony for Desmond Bane and Jace Richardson. I think Jace Richardson can be better than Cole Anthony by January. So all in all, it's a win. Their last 2 weeks, they pretty much crushed their moves.
Next over the Nets again. They had back-to-back picks. For the first pick, the pick individually, I think, was cool at 26. I think it was like a C+, B- pick at 26. If you didn't draft two other guards, for Jaeger, two other like ball handlers at the other picks. I guess they're trying to draft like one of these guys are gonna be our franchise guard type of thing. Like one of these guys, I guess. Saraf struggles with athleticism and shooting the ball. Free throw percentage wasn't great. 3-point percentage wasn't great. But he was productive in a pro league. Was the starting ball handler for that team that made the finals. I think they're 2-2 right now. So I don't think individually it's a bad pick. However, though, it's probably like a D considering whatever they did. Danny Wolf, D. I gave it a C+, but D. Not the biggest fan of him at all. I don't think he does the big man things really well. He's like that role he played at Michigan is not what he's going to do in the NBA. I mean, he can maybe be a ball handler. I don't know. He turned the ball over a lot. I think NBA defenders are going to get into his frame and put pressure on him as a ball handler. 3-point. He's supposed to be like a stretch big, but the shooting indicators aren't great at all whatsoever. Free throw percentage is really low historically. 3-point percentage is not high. So I mean, hey, what do we know? What do you think of those two picks?
As a combo, I think it's a D. Uh, again, as the player, then I think I would just give it a B, but I have to lower it down because again they picked two other guards, so I think like there's just not enough. There's not enough space for them to play, and the other two they already have conflicting types of play. In terms of Danny Wolf, don't really know what he's gonna do for this team. Even if you move Claxton, I still like you don't move into a seamless fit because he doesn't do any of the things that Claxton does. And what Claxton does when he's when he's playing how he's supposed to play, when he's in a winning environment, is just so different than what Danny Wolf is. Especially when you got a bunch of other creators. Danny Wolf's, playmaking and passing and whatnot just gets nullified because he's never gonna have the ball like that anyway. So I think all in all they fumbled their whole drive.
Celtics used their first round pick on Hugo Gonzalez from Real Madrid. I think Hugo should have came to college. He didn't get a lot of minutes at all overseas at all. I think he's a good slasher, good defender. It's an upside swing. Not too mad at it. I think Ryan Kalkbrenner would have been good here for them. Maybe they get him in the second round because they do got pick 32, I believe. I'm gonna give it like a C minus C. I can't really make a lot of judgment on it because Hugo has not played much over the last 12 months or whatever. But yeah, I think he has some upside as a slasher, as a defender. Can play make a little bit too. So yeah. What do you think, Hugh? Hugo Gonzalez at 28.
I understand the upside of it. So like that could be a thing. I'll give it a C. Just based off the upside. I think they should have went other ways. I think they probably should have got a center. Some type of center. That would have easily made this like a B. I just think they picked the wrong player right here.
All right, Phoenix. Wait, no, Phoenix didn't make this pick. This is Charlotte. They selected Liam McNeely. They want to shoot threes. I think he's gonna be a good shooter because he was a good shooter in high school. I think he was overtasked at UConn, doing too much. He wasn't a leading scorer. Needs to improve as a defender if he can. I don't know if he can because of his athletic limitations, but he did a few things like solid well. Was a solid rebounder, was a solid passer. Ultimately, though, in the NBA, I think he's a specialist. But at 29, I'm not going to give him a team a bad grade for selecting a player like this at 29. I do think these players that are better than him on the board. Rasheed Fleming, Noah Penda, Ryan Kalkbrenner, a lot of players, especially because they just traded. They could have used a center. They just traded their center away. So Ryan Kalkbrenner would have been solid to me. But hey, what do I know? Well, this is Charlotte instead of Hornets. Yeah. What do you think of the pick?
I think I'm gonna say it's a C. Literally only a shooter, and he wasn't even great shooting. And maybe that's because he was tasked with being their best player, but I think he doesn't do anything else well enough to like warrant playing a lot. But if they want to get up a bunch of threes, he's a player that's gonna get up a bunch of threes.
All right. Last pick of the draft was the Clippers. They select Yannick Niederhauser. I think he was pretty unproductive for the first 2 years of his college career. Last year was much better. I think he had like a 6.9 box plus minus. He's basically like run defender. He tested well at the combine, which was got his draft stock up. He can defend around. He can roll. He played a little bit in the post, a little bit. I think it was a reach, though. I'm gonna give it probably like a D.
I think he's just a shot blocker. Like I don't think he's a great defender. I think he's like Hassan Whiteside. He's gonna block shots, but that doesn't necessarily mean he's a great rim protector or a great defender. I don't think he has great feel for the game. Maybe I'm wrong. I don't know. I just think they reached right here.
All right, that's gonna do it for our winners and losers and grading every pick of the first round of the NBA draft. Make sure you guys leave a comment on your winners and losers, some of your favorite picks, some of your sleeper picks. Tell me if you were happy with what your team did. We're gonna be back with some more NBA coverage. We gotta do the offseason is about to get crazy, man. So we gonna lock in now that the NBA season's over. We gotta rank players. We gotta do a lot of stuff. So Stay tuned for all that. Follow us on our social media platforms up at the top of the screen, and we are out.